Shaul, in his letter to the Messianic Hebrews back in the first century, wrote near the end of the period of time that was going to end up with the destruction of the temple. But yet, from the year that Yeshua was crucified until the year the temple was destroyed, a miracle that had transpired nearly every year for more than 100 years at that point never transpired again. It was the miracle that transpired at Yom Kippur. And when that no longer took place, the nation was in disarray. Why is this miracle that showed that the sins of the people were forgiven when the goat was taken off into the wilderness, pushed off in the wilderness? Why did this miracle in which this scarlet cord would turn white, why did it never happen again? Well, Shaul says that there was obviously a change in the law. But this change in the law has nothing to do with the change in the commandments. It is speaking of the priesthood and the sacrifices of the priesthood. That's the only thing that changed. Even he said that there still remains a rest for the people of God, speaking of the millennial reign when the Messiah will live and reign upon the earth as the flesh and blood king who will reign over all of Israel, and the world will beat its swords into plowshares, its spears into pruning hooks. Nation will not lift up sword against nation, neither will they learn war anymore. This is the reign of the Messiah. When every Feast of Tabernacles they go up to worship the king, Yehovah Tzavaot, on his birthday, the Feast of Tabernacles in Jerusalem. That is when the kingdom of heaven, in the rule of law of the Torah, is going to be for all of mankind. Everyone will know the Torah. Everyone will know the instructions. Now we have a choice. Mankind has a choice because the Messiah is not ruling as the flesh and blood king over all the earth, but yet the kingdom of heaven is among us. And the king himself stood by the instructions. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's step back and to Hebrews chapter 1 and continue on verse 8. But unto the Son he said, Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. A scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom. Thou hast loved righteousness, hated iniquity. Therefore God, thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. A direct quote from Psalm 45, verses 6 and 7. And then again he says, And thou, Lord, in the beginning hath laid the foundation of the earth. And the heavens are the works of thy hands. They shall perish, but you remain. They shall wax old as a garment, and as a vesture you shall fold them up, and they shall be changed. But thou art the same, and thy years shall not fail. See, this is speaking of the Almighty, and this is the first allusion to what we're going to see in the book of Hebrews. Something changed in the temple service. A miracle that had happened for centuries no longer happened. And it happened the very year that Yeshua was crucified, and the rabbis admit that it didn't happen in the last 40 years. The rabbis say that the temple was destroyed in the year 68 of the Common Era, and Yeshua's crucifixion was in the year 28. They nailed it correctly. This is not Roman Catholic or papal eschatology or numbering. This is the rabbis themselves. 28 is when Yeshua was crucified. 68, the temple was destroyed. The last 40 years, the scarlet ribbon on the scapegoat, the goat to Azazel, never turned white again. The miracle stopped, something changed, and this is the first allusion to it, that something is going to change. Just like a vesture, is the earth is going to be folded up and changed just like a garment, but you remain the same. Then verse 13, but to which of the angels said he at any time? He, who is the he? He is the Almighty, who has created the heavens and the earth, who is going to fold them up like a garment, who changes things when he changes things. But to which of the angels did he, the Almighty, say, sit thou at my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstools? He never said that to the angels. He said it only to the Son, only to the offspring of King David, only to Adonai at his right hand, who would be Yehovah, Sevaot, at his right hand, who would be given that title and that authority. And then it says, are they, the angels, not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister to them who shall be heirs of salvation? Yes, the angels, they have their job. They are ministering spirits, but they are not in the place of the Son of the Most High. And because of that, therefore, continue reading. Remember, there are no chapters, there are no verses. When this was written to the Messianic Jews, to the Notzrim, more appropriately, to the Notzrim, the followers of the Netzer, from the lineage of King David, growing forth as a Netzer from the root of the cut down stump of Yishai, or Jesse. That Netzer, his followers were called the Notzrim. Still are in the land of Israel today. The Notzrim, faithful to obey the Torah, keep the feast. Therefore, we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip. We've heard from who? God, who at various times and in a diverse manner spoke to us unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken to us by his Son. We need to listen to what the Son says. This is exactly what we read about in Deuteronomy 18. That Moses said, there's coming in the future another prophet like unto me, who hears directly from heaven. He will not speak the words of his own voice. He will speak what he hears the Father speak. And we must shema, we must hear and obey him. And those who do not, it says it will be required of them, King James, which is, again, it will be diligently searched out, and they will be judged according to their compliance to the prophet. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, it's a stuck record. It's going to be stuck for the rest of my life until you start understanding. It's not just because you call him the Messiah that makes you messianic. It's that you obey him. Obey, do what he said to do. Get off your dead rear end and get out there and shake up the world. That's what he said to do. He didn't say go sit in church in a pew and get slivers in your tuchus from the oak pews. He never said to do that. He said, set the world on fire. He said, I didn't come to bring peace. I came to bring a sword. What did we read? Psalm 45. The sword is in his hand. This is the Messiah we serve. He is the king at the right hand, waiting for his enemies to be made a footstool. But he's not just sitting there. He's in us. He is raising up Hanukite, dedicated warriors to do the job. Therefore, we better listen to him. You know, if you think it's a big deal, an angel coming down and giving someone a message, that's nothing. The prophet came, and we better listen to him. Unto which one of the angels did he say, hey, this is my beloved Son. Whatever he says, do it. No. This is the Son. Don't let these words slip. And this is what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, is that people are letting the words of the Messiah slip. They're saying, oh, we believe he's the Messiah. We've got Messianic congregations. We want to put on, the Order of the Brown Kippah. We want to put on something to make it look or feel Jewish and call ourselves Messianic because we want to come out of the paganism of churchianity the paganism of what Rome handed down to us through the daughters of Rome, the Protestant churches, the abominations that we inherited from our forefathers. We recognize these things. Jeremiah prophesied it. We are crying out in repentance. But we don't let those things slip and go right over into and follow the rabbis when Yeshua said, don't follow the Takanot Masim, the rabbis. Don't follow them. Don't do it. Don't let it slip. And if you want to play footsies with the rabbis and take on, put a little kippah on because it makes you feel Jewish, the Pope was wearing a kippah before the Jews were. It's a solar monstrance. That's what it is. Comes from pagan sun god worship. You feel like putting on a tallit because it makes you feel more Jewish. Why don't you do what Yeshua said to do? I'm not saying don't put on a tallit. I am saying do what Yeshua said. Don't follow the Takanot of the Pharisees.